guy. I tweeted to him all the time, and I say, how come you get 7 people to have open up for your show for 7 people? It's like Stuttering John opening for 5 people for
Right.
your stand-up. And I'm like, Chad, that's what mostly you do. You're an opening act. You know, you open...
And it's a shame because the guy, like I said, he has talent. He can be a regular thing. I think people would go and see him, but he completely lost his mind. He honestly has.
I was on his Twitter, and he opened up for Jim Brewer. How fucking sad is that? You know,
well, honestly, to open up Brewer is a national treasure. To be able to open up for him is a pretty good gig because the crowd is going to be monstrous at a Brewer gig. I saw and met Brewer down at Good Nights in North Carolina. Great guy. He graduated from my high school. Brewer graduated from Valley Stream Central High School in 1985. I was class of 93. I mean, you would think that would be something to vault his career up. But instead, he's gone sideways with it. And I don't want this to make this whole thing about Zumock, but it's just crazy what's gone on with him. And I give credit to Carl from Who Are These Podcasts and Shuli, who's doing the Uncle Rico show with Bob Levy. Oh my God. Because of what these people have done, Zumock and John and everything, it's given them a career. They've built a mountain out of this thing, which is hilarious.
It's hilarious. Like the Uncle Rico show.
It's time for the Uncle Rico show. I can't get that out of my head, that freaking theme song. It's hilarious.
I cannot. There was this guy on YouTube. He wears a luchador mask, and he does dabble. I don't know, but he did one about John and Opie, and it was hilarious. And they were comparing these two guys. They are the same.
Oh,
Opie and him are the same. And did you see the video of Stuttering John mixing with Opie and...
Yes, I did. Oh my God.
I was laughing hysterically.
There are so many talented people out there that do this stuff. And to act, because, I've joked on Twitter, I said, if John and Opie ever got together, it's like the gatekeeper and the keymaster from Ghostbusters. Bad things will happen if these two ever get into the same room.
Yes. I remember Opie, just this week, he's on vacation in some tropical place. And
honestly, he's been on vacation for years in his mind, trust me.
And he's complaining about the rain. I'm like, dude, it rains on and off in a tropical place.
Mm-hmm.
And he's playing with exotic birds with his phone. I'm like, dude, why are you doing that? You don't know how to interact with people. You got so insecure when comedians were on the show because it really wasn't about you. It was really much about, Anthony, Jimmy, Patrice, many others. And he takes it so seriously. It's like you can't get over the greatest relationship with your ex-girlfriend. That's how it is.
Yep. And that's completely.
It's just, to me, it's like, you can't get over this special relationship that you had with this girl, and it's so amazing, and you've been together for so many years, and all of a sudden, you grow apart, and you're arguing with each other, and it's like something like that, and it's like he wants to rehash a moment that he had very success, and after that, he just went 180. He just flipped.
I've never met Opie. I have all the people I've met. I've never met him. Had an opportunity once, but he skipped out. When I talk to Anthony about Opie, I simply say that he gave up, which is sad. It's not funny to me with Opie, what the things that he does, the show that he does. I've never listened to it, but again, here's a guy like Zumock who's got talent. He can go and spin records. He can go and be a DJ on any radio station in the country. The guy has talent to do it. But I think that the whole success of the O&A show, and then the O&A and Jimmy show, affected him when he found out that he wasn't the main cog of the show. That the show, instead of going through him and then, as he says, the people he hired, Anthony and Jimmy, people gravitated to Anthony and Jimmy because they were funny. And Opie would kill that a lot of times. And it's sad because nobody wanted to see this. They were 20-plus years of some of the greatest radio that they've ever had. And he just, I look at him now and he looks disheveled. He's out in the Hamptons. He's up in the sky by his apartment, just, holding the phone, or used to be in the car, holding the phone up to take, it's not funny what he's doing. And then to start busting on the people who made it funny is sadly pathetic. Yeah, there was this station that was finally closed. It was 92.3, Alt 92.3, that closed. Right. It shuts its doors and it was merged to 1010 Wins, but an FM version. And I was saying to myself, Opie would be great for the morning, just to play radio. Oh yeah, definitely. Could have made a whole new career for himself. Look, it's not like the guy needs the money per se, but again, we don't really know because right now he's living off of the money in the contract he signed with SiriusXM. Eventually, especially living in this area with the house in the Hamptons, an apartment in the city, whatever the hell else he's got, that's all going to dwindle away, and he's going to have to go and do something. Yeah, I just was saying, you got the biggest gig in New York, doing records, you're interviewing with musical guests, new musical guests. Right, correct. And you're doing something to make you relevant still. It's nothing bad. It's just you're just playing records. Yeah. And you're interviewing people in the studio, but you got to go with the guidelines with radio. Look, he could have done something way back when. This is where I give Anthony the most credit. Anthony was, and I don't know if it was a thought process of he actually meant to do this, but he started doing shows called Live from the Compound before. Oh wow, sorry, a caller calling in. You're doing a Stuttering John. Well, hey, this is not a studio. This is my home office. So anyway, so Anthony started doing these shows from his house before he had Compound Media called Live from the Compound. While O&A was still a thing, he would go down there and do his weekend karaoke, the gun karaoke, all this stuff. Opie could have done this back in the day, and he didn't. So when things finally fell apart, I think that he got so enraged and, again, jealous of the fact that Anthony did something right with his money. He took some of his money and he invested it in building a studio, a proper studio in his basement in his house, which was phenomenal. And then to open a studio in New York City, right around the block from Madison Square Garden, again, just a boon. Opie could have done all of this. He's got the money. He could have done any type of show for himself in his house just like this. Yeah. And he didn't. And now it's been so long, he can't go and do that because if he does it, what is it going to be? Oh, he's copying Anthony because he waited so long. That's on him. That's totally his fault. Yeah, he had that deal with Westwood One. And he could have just been in the studio. He didn't need to have a Zoom mic, go in, check the clock to see, and you got to expand your horizon. If you want to have upcoming comics onto your show, great. Put them out. And it's not like Opie would have had problems finding people to come on his show. He's got friends, he's got people, he's got, Voss and I'm sure Bob Kelly and all these people would come on. That wouldn't have been a problem for him getting talent to come on because of how he was in the past. And people know that there's some people that still watch Opie, that still go on his thing, and not a lot. Probably a couple more than me, but this is things that he could have done, and totally missing the boat. And then it just feels like he just gave up, and now he's at the point where, well, I still want to be relevant, and I still want to try to do something, so I'm going to put this up here, and some people are going to watch it. But he's, like you said before, he's going to be forever searching for the popularity that he had before, and he's just not going to get it because he's not that kind of guy to bring in people watching, because he's just not funny.
No, you have to have some personality. If he he lives in New York City. He could have went to Alt 92.3 and says, look, Opie is back on radio from the Opie and Anthony show. He's completely different. He's going to be, spinning records, be talking with artists. That's what he should have done.
Yeah.
After when he got fired from SiriusXM, and if they gave him good money, which by the way should happen, he would reinvent himself, and and still doing it, and still increase the ratings, and still have the station there, and not fold it to 10-10 wins, is because it's your name. That's the big, gig.
Yeah, well, like I said, he's going to have to do something. He's going to, the pot's going to run dry, and whether he goes back in radio or goes and manages a Dairy Queen, I don't know. But he's going to do something. The other end of the spectrum, you've got John, which the John story, I could do 4 hours here on John. We all can. It's the thing that happened with me and him, or him and I, excuse me, back in 2018 with the whole him sending me a DM on Twitter to review his book, which you can check out. Carl did a great episode. I think it's episode 295 of Who of Their Podcasts on YouTube. He's got the whole story. I should have went on Carl's show to talk about it. Honestly, I didn't, because I didn't know how people would react to having their name out there. But that was my first awakening to, oh my God, this guy is out of his freaking mind. I know the guy who went over Anthony's house, and John came for the poker game, and that whole story, and which is Mikey, who lives in Belmore. Great guy. It's just unbelievable how this guy has fallen and continues to fall. Yeah. And how now people are making a career out of just talking about him. He can't do anything right. It can't all be on purpose, but it is.
Yeah. I remember when Howard, back in the day, just ridiculed John. And I remember, I think you could watch this on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And Howard says, "You're not funny. You're funny when you stutter. You're funny when we write you stupid questions for the red carpet. You're good at that. You're not funny. You're not a comedian." That's the problem. John needs to accept the reality that he's good at stuttering and asking ridiculous questions.
He's not even good at that. The whole stutter thing with him was kind of a farce from the get-go. You don't see him on his show stuttering like he used to do during his interviews. Yeah. You just don't see that. John, he's a liar. He's out of touch with reality. He's a left-wing extremist, which is unbelievable to boot there. Let's start with that problem. But he's another guy that none of this had to happen this way. He was on Anthony's show twice, I believe, from his house. He did a pool show, I think. Probably more than once, because I think he came in the studio as well. Everybody was fine with John. And then he just completely lost his marbles. The lies and now, I mean, he's living in the roach-infested apartment. He's a substitute teacher. Even the substitute teacher thing, where he lied that he was a substitute teacher, and people found out about it. Somebody snuck the picture of him sitting in the school. I mean, come on.
And he was an Uber driver.
Oh.
he could be working at an office for the rest of his entire life, and people won't recognize him.
Exactly. I mean, he tries to. Oh, I was a guy on the Tonight Show. I was a head writer. You were not. You were hired by the Tonight Show, as a goof, almost out of sympathy. And he keeps trying to say if he could wear a T-shirt that would probably be inside out that says "I was on the Tonight Show," he would wear that every day, because he's still trying to again suck the life out of something that he did, that he could have really did something with, but he didn't. And now look where he is. And now this war between John, Anthony, Carl, Shuli, it's like it's become a soap opera. Every day it's something new. The tennis ball's going back and forth and back and forth. Yeah. But it's like John is hitting a little lob and Anthony is coming down and smashing it back down in his face. It's unbelievable. I love reading about it and watching it.
I love Twitter because how this guy Muttering John.
Muttering John, yes, yeah, I started following him about a week ago.
It is hilarious.
I've done a number of John memes over the last couple of years. I've gotten some great feedback on them. He makes it too easy. He really does.
He makes it too easy to hate him.
Yeah, nobody likes him. No. It's all hate. It's all rage. It's all, what is this guy even doing on a show, per se? He comes on with that guy, Richard Ojeda, whatever that guy's name.
Oh, yeah, Richard Ojeda.
Yeah, the sergeant, and with his green screen sitting behind him, just a yes man to everything that John says. And he's had people come on his show, and you can tell that they're kind of embarrassed to be on there. Once they realize what's going on, they try to distance themselves and try to make it end a lot quicker. How embarrassing is that?
Yeah. I remember he had, remember Bobby Brown in that sweet...
Oh, yes, the blonde-haired chick from the music videos, from the Cherry Pie video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was just he was so bad.
Dude, the douche chills were running up my arm as I was watching that interview. I don't even call it an interview. It was pathetic.
I know. It's just like he cannot do an interview. He doesn't have material.
No, look, I'm sitting here. We're talking just an open discussion. I don't have any papers or anything around me. John he can't formulate proper thoughts in his mind to make something flow. It's like his mind is the monkey bashing the things like this. There's nothing to it. It's empty in there.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy.
Oh, well, and I just want to also give kudos to Bob Levy, who I absolutely love. Bob Levy. He is one of the nicest guys. I talk to him on Twitter all the time and DMs and stuff. I love Bob and Shuli for doing that. I don't. Who's the other guy on the Rico show? The guy with the gray hair.
I don't know.
I forget his name. But these three have done such an awesome job on that show. You can't stop watching it. I don't need to know or look at anything, John. Just as soon as Shuli puts up that show, which you can get on his Patreon or on YouTube a couple days after, I believe, it's a great watch. You have to watch it. It's freaking phenomenal.
Okay, I'll give it a try, but I am going to laugh and I'm going to be coughing like I had COVID. It's just, I told you I got COVID 2 Saturdays ago. And when I wake up in the morning, I'm coughing. And when I think of Stuttering John, I still cough when I laugh. It's like another phase of COVID in my system. And I'm just laughing and I'm coughing at the same time about Stuttering John.
Oh my God! Yeah, we're gonna keep watching it over the coming weeks and see. Yeah. I mean, I know that they're down at the Anthony and Gino and stuff are down at the Content House right now.
Yeah, I know.
Let me see. Let's take a look and see what's going in over there. Where's my other keyboard? Let me see. You can see what's going in on the Content House. Let's bring.
I was watching before I came on the show. I always watch the live stream of WATP.
Right.
And they were talking about Chad Zumocher's stand-up, and it was
look at this. I'm going to put this in. Oddly enough, what are they talking about right now? Let's zoom this in here. Look who's on the Conhen House right now. You got Carl. Oh, you got Alex Stein.
Yeah.
And the casting couch. There's Anthony.
You got Jens from the Jingles department, Missy, and Anthony.
Oh, there's Missy. Yet look at it. They're talking about John. It's incredible. It never ends. It's unbelievable. And look at John wearing the Tonight Show shirt.
Yeah. I drink cause drunk all the. There was this segment. I don't know what it is. Should I send you the site?
Yeah, you can send it to me.
All right.
Let's see.
Right. Bring up. I'm going. YouTube.
I can't. You know what? I don't even know if this is going out over YouTube right now because I can't even see it on my channel. But I'm recording it to disc to put it up afterwards if it's not. Just drop it in an email. Just pop me an email to it, and I'll get it on my machine.
All right.
That's hilarious that they're talking about John. That's unbelievable.
Oh, it's not Debbie Dabbler. It's hold on. I'm going into my library. Did you ever see Steel Toe?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's called B Dabbler.
This is on YouTube?
Yeah, it's B-E Dabbler.
Oops, nice if I spelled it right. Dabbler. Oh, Jesus. Nice if I spelled that right, too. L-E-R. Oh, here we go. B Dabbler. I got it.
Yes.
Oh, God, look at some of these. Oh, my Lord.
This is the show.
Oh, this is hilarious. The Dabbler News Network. Oh, this is hilarious. Let me make this louder. Yeah, you know what? I saw this the other night. This is great.
Yeah. And I just turned it on, and I was just cracking up. And there's an Opie one, too. It was called Opie I think Opie Notre Dame. And it's just fucking hilarious.
Oh, my God. There's Opie and John.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, my God. That's just tremendous. That's really, really well done. I tell you, these people, they've really made it unbelievable how they've merged this whole thing together. It's absolutely hilarious. Oops,
yes.
Turn off
God. This is just fucking killing me. When you have these... When they splice it up and they put them together, it sounds perfect. It was like, how in the fuck do these guys? These guys would be so great with each other doing a podcast.
Oh, it would be. You know what? It may be actually so bad it is popular. That's the thing. It would be so bad that people would just watch and listen to it, which is great. All right, well, let's move on here. But we got I want to throw a little sports into the mix, being it's 3:45. Let's talk about my Yankees.
Oh God.
Gino is Gino's a big Phillies fan. I've been texting him, and he's on cloud nine, especially after the win last night. But I get a lot of questions about the Yankees.
I was saying to myself when I sent you the email, I was like, Hal, are you on cloud nine? Do you see what Boone can't do? And look, the players are pretty bad with the offense during the postseason.
Yes.
What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to put the blame on, make the scapegoat Boone, or do you trade some of them for?
Well, there's a blanket problem now, and as I listen to FAN and I listen to the Yankee fans calling and complaining, let's start where the problem lies. Okay, let's dismiss Boone, Cashman, and even the players for a second. The Yankees of the 90s, the Yankees of the 80s, the Yankees of the 70s, they had a way to do business that they no longer can do. And this is where it all starts. Back then, they were able to basically sign any free agent that they wanted to because they had such a financial advantage over any other team. That no longer is the case. Now teams like Tampa Bay, Kansas City, the small market teams, they generate so much revenue from television, they've leveled the playing field. And that's what Major League Baseball wanted. They wanted, the fans in Seattle, the fans in San Diego, the fans in Kansas City, these small market teams to be able to believe every year they have a shot to compete. Now they do because they have all this revenue generated. That was the Yankees' major advantage, even over the Mets at the time, who play obviously in the same city, but wouldn't have that big of a payroll. The Yankees would be able to go out getting money from the Yes Network, jersey sales, global around the world. They would have so much more financial flexibility that other teams didn't have, that when free agency came around for these players who, let's say Tampa Bay, for example, had a young player coming up. Let's say it didn't exist right now, but Wander Franco. Let's say Wander Franco came up, and this is 1990, and he's up for a contract with Tampa Bay. Well, Tampa Bay wouldn't be able to afford to re-sign him. Yeah. They would either have to trade him before the contract or let him walk. And if he walks, the Yankees are going to be able to throw major bucks at him.
Yeah.
That all stopped when these small market teams are now able to generate monster revenue. So that entire advantage that we had, gone. Never coming back again. So now, what do the Yankees do? Brian Cashman, the general manager of the Yankees, was hired to basically put the best player he can at every position on the field, which really he has done since he became general manager in 1998. Yes, he inherited the 96, teams with Jeter and Brady Williams and all that, but he was still part of the organization. In today's market, he has done unbelievable things with trades, getting Gleyber Torres, trading Aroldis Chapman, and getting him back. There's so many pieces. Clay Holmes, who became an all-star this year. Trevino, the catcher, became an all-star this year. He's better than any other general manager. He's been able to pluck these things from other organizations, but without the ability, outside of Garrett Cole, who wanted to be a Yankee, to attract somebody to come here, in free agency, because these teams are locking them up before they become free agents.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? Where are we now? We've got to re-sign Aaron Judge. That's obviously number one on the list. Yeah. If you don't re-sign him, I don't know what they do. He had such a great year. He's going to make so much money. People wonder, well, he's from the Bay Area. The Giants say they're going to be in on him. They won't be outbid. The Dodgers are going to bid. Many teams are going to bid. They look for little things. During the postseason, after Aaron Judge hit that home run, when he did the little kiss to the pinstripes, like, oh, that's showing that he loves the Yankees. That's a little... Yeah. Nobody knows what's on his mind. Now, this is also going to last, I think, a long way into the postseason, into the offseason, which is going to cause all the other free agents to wait on whatever they're doing. Not that there's a huge class, but Carlos Rodon on San Francisco, and Carlos Correa, who's a free agent now from Minnesota, they're going to wait to see what Judge does, because he's going to set the market. But he may not sign until the end of January, early February. Who knows? Garrett Cole told him, take your time in free agency. That's my advice to you. So this can go on, and I think it will go on for most of the offseason. The Yankees are going to jump in early. I think they're going to make him a very solid offer. Hal knows, between the Yankee fans, the kids, the sales, the judges' chambers, all the stuff that gets sold in the stadium is all about Aaron Judge. He can't lose that. The fan base will basically shit. And I'll tell you right now, there is zero chance he signs with the Mets. I don't care what Steve Cohen offers Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is. Let's say you're Aaron Judge. Would you want to go and piss off what I think is more than 50% of the fan base of the town that you play in by joining a rival team? You'll be vilified forever. It'll crush his aura. So I don't see that happening.
Yeah. What do you think about the ideas that I sent you for the ideas of trades and for small prospects just to get guys who are pretty younger?
It's really all they can do if they this roster won't have a lot of turnover. Too many guys are locked in with deals that they're going to have to eat money. Josh Donaldson, Aaron Hicks, especially Hicks. Hicks is gone. He's played his last game as a Yankee. He's not owed that much money, but the Yankees are going to eat it, and they're probably going to release him because what are you going to get for him? You couldn't get a low-grade prospect for Aaron Hicks at this point. Donaldson is another problem. He's owed a little over $25 million for next season. There's no way that you're trading him and that unless you pick up a significant portion of that, which, again, you got to re-sign Aaron Judge. You're going to have to pay to get rid of Donaldson. This is all going to throw up a lot of money. John Heyman had an article the other day. He said the 4 things the Yankees should do is sign Aaron Judge, sign Carlos Rodon, sign Carlos Correa, and sign Edwin Diaz from the Mets. The whole thing he thinks will add about $140 to $150 million a year to the payroll. As funny as that would be, it's never going to happen. You mentioned the trade of Gleyber Torres, which is set off kind of a windstorm for me on Twitter back when it apparently happened and didn't happen. That's a whole nother spiel. Torres has some trade value. I believe he's arbitration eligible this year, I think. And I think he's going into the final year before he's going to need a contract. He's one of the better second basemen. I think he showed that during the playoffs. He's been much more comfortable at second base. He was a disaster at shortstop. But now I question what exactly can you get for him. He didn't have a great postseason. He still strikes out a lot. He didn't have, that year he had in 2018 when he dropped 37 homers. That seems to be an anomaly. He hasn't had the pop. I would have liked to have traded Gleyber and got back Pablo Lopez from Florida. I think that would have been a great deal. Would have helped because, look, Frankie Montas is an absolute disaster. That's one of the trades that Brian Cashman made that is not working at all. No. Whether he's not healthy or he just can't pitch in New York. But you know what? He's here. We're going to have him all next year, so the guy has got to do something. But the one thing that the Yankees are sticking to, they're sticking with the youth. Anthony Volpe, they're not trading him for anything. Outfielder Jason Dominguez, the Martian, not trading him for anything. These are guys that are going to come up. I think Volpe will probably be up at some point next season. Dominguez, maybe September, probably the following season, because he's still young. I think he's 19 years old, Jason Dominguez, who homered in the Futures game, by the way. So you got a lot of youth coming in. You got Cabrera, you got Peraza. I think, DJ LeMahieu's getting older. He's kind of injury prone, but you're probably going to start DJ LeMahieu at third base. Peraza's going to start at short. He's looked great there at short. How much he's going to hit, we'll see. Again, he's a rookie. We don't really know. He didn't have a lot of at-bats at the major league level, and it was a real sham what they did to that poor kid in the playoffs. Going with IKF, who I was behind all early in the season, saying that, I think he'll be fine. Defensively, he'll be fine. By the end of the season, I was eating my shoe. He's got no pop, and defensively, he just killed us.
Do you think that should it be with the prospects that are coming up? I'm not talking about the top 5, but I'm talking about 5 through whatever. Do you think the Yankees could try to, trade those guys for?
Yes, they're going to have to because, first of all, they've got a gluttony of catching prospects. Most of them, nobody thinks they're going to stick at catcher. Josh Bro, Austin Wells. These are kids who've got great sticks. I believe Wells is a lefty, too, who's got a lot of pop. And I know Josh Bro, I think it's how you say his name, Bro, Breaux or something like that. He kind of reminds me of Kyle Schwarber. He's going to be an all-or-nothing type guy, but he's got no position because he's not a very good catcher. And I don't think he's basically grown up to be a DH. He's like a softball guy. He's a tub, but he's got monster power. So yeah, they're gonna have to trade these guys eventually because they're gonna be blocked. I think there's some question whether the Yankees are gonna bring back Higashioka this year. I know that he hit 300 in the second half. He hit 10 homers. He's a very solid backup catcher, great guy you want to have. Now Trevino is pretty much taken over the starting catcher's role going forward. Is he going to have the same season next year? What's that going to do to the kids' availability like Austin Wells? It's a good question. They have another catcher low in the minors, I forget his name, who's also there. It seems like they've got a gluttony of catchers and shortstop in the minor leagues. The pitching, which is what you want to see coming to the minor leagues, that got hurt a lot in the past 2 or 3 seasons. We had Clark Schmidt up this year, who was on and off, but Schmidt's a starting pitcher. I never liked him in the bullpen. He struggles out of the bullpen. The big one that hurt to me was the loss of Luis Hill. When Hill went down with Tommy John surgery, he was throwing the ball well at the major league level the year before, showing flashes of brilliance, almost like a young, I don't want to say Ivan Nova, but almost like a young Domingo Germán sort of. He would have outings that he was unhittable. So now we've got to see how he's going to come back from Tommy John. One that you always ask me about questions about, Devi Garcia, who has just completely lost it. He had a terrible season in the minors this year. I think his ERA was up near 7. He lost his confidence. I don't know if what's going on with him, but he's fallen down the prospect radar, and they're probably going to deal him if they can in something. He'll just be cannon fodder in a deal. So there's not a lot there. We traded a lot to get Montas. J.P. Sears was good, and Hayden, I forgot how to say his name, Wisniewski. These are guys that are going to pitch well for Oakland in the coming seasons. No pressure out there, and the loss of them really hurt the Yanks' bottom line as far as pitching prospects that they can deal. Outside of that, who else do you move on the team? There's nobody there that really has any value that isn't locked in.
No, I mean, when I was, saying they should get, Stephen Vogt. You could trade, I don't know, for, prospects on the lower end and see how they're going to turn out, in 2 to 3 years.
Right.
You want to, currently what I'm talking about is we want to win right now. Mm-hmm. I understand about the future, but are you willing to trade those guys for currently right now? Because the division going into next year is going to be interesting, because I truly believe that the Blue Jays, the Rays, I could see Baltimore,
Baltimore's a big one. Baltimore's youth really, really shined this year. I think they won 84 games or something like that. They came out of nowhere, played so well in the second half. You can see them up and coming, and their ownership, I believe, is still Peter Angelos. They're willing to spend, and they're willing now to bring in veterans to mix in with the youth. Baltimore's going to be tough going forward, definitely.
Yeah, I think the whole thing is you got those 4 teams. I think the Red Sox, their window is closing. And also with their problems with with those 2 guys that want long-term deals.
You got Xander Bogaerts over there. You got J.D. Martinez is a free agent.
Yeah, I'm talking about
and Rafael Devers.
Yeah, I'm talking about Xavier, and who's the other guy that wants to? He's been rumored on the trading market.
Let me see. There.
He's a third baseman.
Oh, Devers. Rafael Devers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those 2 guys may walk and may get some top money somewhere else.
Boston has they're one of the richer franchises. The whole American League East is such a conglomeration of talent. It's still the toughest division in all of baseball.
Yeah.
That the fact that the Yankees won 99 games and rolled over a lot of the teams was very surprising. Toronto, I thought Toronto was going to win preseason. I had predicted them with that lineup, that talent, Bichette, Guerrero Jr. They got hurt when I always never say his name right, Ryu went down, and their bullpen was a mess. The Red Sox, they've tried to, when they lost it when they traded Betts to LA. That was when the Red Sox, you knew the Red Sox were going to go through a rebuilding. Tampa Bay, again, smoke and mirrors, how they do what they do. And I'll tell you, Tampa Bay and Houston followed the same kind of outlier to get where they are today. And this is where the whole problem with the Yankees come in. Houston and Tampa Bay were bad for so long, for so many years, that they stockpiled so much youth in the minor leagues from draft picks and whatever, that now all that's coming to fruition. The Yankees don't do that. We haven't had a bad season since 1992, really, or 91, because we consistently win 90 to 100 games every year. We're in the playoffs every year. They rebuild every year. Just restock, in other words, not rebuild. And that's where we come back to the problem with what the Yankees are doing as far as going forward, and why they don't have the ability to change this culture of this team. They're never going to tear it down and break it down. You could change Boone, right? So, but to me, that's not going to do much. The one good thing that Boone does is he handles the players well, which is all you've got to do as Yankee manager. That's all that Joe Torre ever did. Manage the prima donnas in the locker room. Get them to coexist, and you'll be fine. Now, a lot of people get up in arms about Boone's bullpen management. Okay. You can question any manager's decision. But if the player goes out there and does his job, then all of a sudden Boone is a genius. He goes out there and shits the bed, Boone's an idiot. So the manager, to me, it doesn't make a lot of difference as far as wins and losses. It's just about keeping things together in the room. Cashman, again, he's been Yankee GM for over 20 years. He's done a great job at bringing players to this team. And
I know.
Keeps them good every year. If you change the general manager, another general manager here is not going to be able to do the same things that Brian Cashman does, in my opinion, because there's not a lot you can do. You can't. There's not a lot of wiggle room there. The question comes down to sometimes, all right, will Hal Steinbrenner spend like his father? The Yankees have consistently one of the highest payrolls in baseball. The guy spends a lot. So we're kind of at this crossroads. What do you do? Houston was that much better. So in other words, let's put this into perspective. The Phillies won 84 games or 87 games this year. The Astros won
87 games.
87. The Astros won 111, I believe, right? Now the Phillies are up 1-0 in the series. So let's say the Phillies take this thing. Let's say they take it, the World Series. Are you then going to tell me that you should go and build your team like the Philadelphia Phillies, who fired their manager halfway through the season and now have Rob Thompson as the manager, getting rid of Girardi, and the problems that they had over the way the Houston Astros did it, because they won 111 games and steamrolled through the first two rounds of the playoffs? There's no formula to this. This is what baseball wanted, and this is what baseball got. And they jack with the game every year. They change the balls. Next year we got bigger bases. We got a pitch clock. But in the back of their minds, they said, I want every team to have a shot. Just make the playoffs. That's it. We're going to expand it, make the playoffs, and anybody who's in there, regardless if they won 140 games during the regular season, they can get knocked out. Anybody could win, because it's such a small sample size and such a crapshoot in the playoffs. That's the way it's going to be going forward. So how can you blame Brian Cashman or any general manager? There's no formula to follow.
No.
It's completely hit or miss.
I just think, like with now with Houston now being in the World Series, I think 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing achievement.
In this day and age, Houston, let's say it, Houston is a dynasty. They are by far a dynasty.
Yeah, I just think, I think the window, I don't think the window closed with the Yankees, but they're in kind of like this limbo of like, how can we get close to Houston and we fall short? It's like
the only thing that the Yankees window relies with their pitching. Never worry about the Yankees with position players because they'll always be able to go out and do something with a position player. It all comes down to Gerrit Cole. How long could Gerrit Cole, who showed that he is an ace again this year, makes all the money, how long could he go? Who can you get to put around him? Look, Jacob deGrom's a free agent. I don't think we're going to sign Jacob deGrom because of his health and his age and what he's going to ask for on the market. But that is where you can improve the team pitching-wise. Now, again, in the postseason, pitching wasn't a problem. Cortez was good. The bullpen was, considering they were doing things that they're not really supposed to do, that bullpen, they were good. So it could be, it's unbelievable.
It's like, do you want to get younger pitchers or veterans or like guys in their 20s? Do you want to go for the guys who are at the last of their twilight? There's like so much, answers, that
you can go out and you can sign a guy for all these millions of dollars and he could come to your team and be a shadow of the player he was. Take Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson is 3 or 4 years removed from an AL MVP. He had 12 homers and 56 RBIs this year. And he's making $25 million.
Yeah.
Nobody thought Josh Donaldson was going to come here and be that bad. Literally, the guy who replaced him, Gio Urshela, who for some reason played great with us, who was a journeyman his whole career, had, I believe, about just as good of, if not of a better season than Josh Donaldson had.
Yeah, I was talking about, there was this other third baseman that's a free agent that I don't know in the email that I sent you, but it was Bradley. He was on Cincinnati, and I think that they should get that guy just to replace Donaldson if they're going to trade him to like some team that needs to DH.
Let me see the free agent list.
He's a free agent.
I will bring up right now on the said screen here. Let me bring this up. Position by position. Here we go. Okay, so here is the free agent list. Let me bring that up here. Let me move this to here. Oops, wait a minute, wrong one. Yeah, that to there. Maybe this is the little part of the show where I have to do these little. There we go. Okay, let's bring that. All right, so here's a free agent list. So third baseman, Justin Turner's got a club option. Joey Wendell has got a mutual option. Brady Drury. Jock Peterson. There's not a lot of names on this list that honestly, even the top, Justin Turner is going to be 30. He's 38 right now, which is amazing.
There's that guy, Brandon. He's
Brandon
30.
Drury.
Yeah.
Now, we had Brandon Drury. He was on the Yankees, I believe, 2016, I'm going to say. He got hurt with us, and we dumped him off, and all of us, he had a great year this year, and now he's out in San Diego. But again, there's nobody on this list that I'd say I'm going to sign and we're going to be, we got an unbelievable third baseman. The free agent class this year is very, very weak. As I just see another name here, another guy the Yankees have to re-sign, Andrew Benintendi. I want him back. I want him in left field. He's going to be 29, lefty, contact bat. We need contact bats. The strikeouts in the playoffs were just, it was unwatchable. Unwatchable.
Yeah.
He hurt a lot being there. And I think if he would have been there, we would have given Houston a series.
Yeah. Ben Terry, when I saw him in the field for the first time when he was traded from the Royals to New York, it was decent, but, we saw a lot more, but if that injury did not happen with his wrist, I think that was kind of like the Achilles heel.
They wanted to get him on the postseason roster so bad. He had a shot in his wrist the day before the ALCS rosters had to be announced, because obviously we only had that one-day window, which just showed you that his wrist was still in pain. And then, look, I think one of the worst decisions, maybe the worst decision that they honestly made going into that championship series with Houston, was the whole Matt Carpenter problem. Matt Carpenter was a godsend in the middle of the season. He came out like Shane Spencer. He was hitting homers all over the place. But to not hit live pitching for 2 months and then throw him in against the best pitching in the league, I think he started the series 0 for 7 with 7 strikeouts.
Yeah.
You can't do that. I don't know what they were thinking to do that. You could have put anyone else in that position. I would have put the kid Peraza on the roster, start him at short, let him go. Will it have helped? Will it have hindered? Who knows? But you can't get worse than 0 for 7 with 7 strikeouts. And also, Carpenter can't really play a position that well. He's an infielder by trade. They wanted to throw him out in left field. The guy really can't run. His problem was a broken foot. So you're not going to throw him out there. Now, on the other flip side of that, Harrison Bader, who I bashed when the Yankees got him because coming over in the boot, he's not a good hitter. All I heard is, he's a Gold Glove center fielder. He's the best fielding center fielder in baseball. All right, fine, but he was still hurt, and we traded Jordan Montgomery, who was a really good left-handed starting pitcher for us. But I got to give the kid credit. Bader mashed. He had 5 homers in the playoffs. He had 5 homers in the regular season. So he's going to be out in center field for a couple of years to come.
Harrison, who's number 22. Right?
Yeah, Harrison Bader, yeah.
Yeah, is he, you think he'll be a starter, or is he a free agent?
Oh, no, he's a starter going forward. They, for some reason, the bullshit line that they gave when they got Bader in the trade was that they felt that the up-the-middle defense was subpar, which, let me tell you something, Aaron Judge in center field was amazing. Amazing. He didn't make one error out in center field, has a great arm, ran down every ball. So I never believed the line that they signed Harrison Bader to play because Aaron Judge was subpar in center field. But they said, we want to keep Judge's leg healthy. And I don't know how much healthy you're going to be in center field to right field. I played outfielder all my life in baseball. Wherever you are, it's from a standing position to a full 100% sprint, no matter what you are. Now, in center field, you may move around left to right a little more to cover gaps and stuff, but you're still going to run. So I never believed that line. But going forward, he's supposed to be an unbelievable defensive center fielder. We really didn't see any crazy diving, jumping plays in the center field. He had one nice catch in left center in the playoffs, and a cutoff play stopping the ball getting to the wall, which was good. That's what you want to see. So, and if he's going to hit like he hit, fine. Put him in center field, resign Judge, you put him in right field, and then you have Benintendi in left field. You're really not going to find much more of a better outfield than that. The other name I hear bandied about, which again I find kind of funny, is Brandon Nimmo of the Mets is a free agent. And there's some talk that the Yankees might pursue him to play left field. I like Nimmo. He's a spark plug. He's a big, he hustles to first base. And only problem with him is he has got a girl's arm. He can't throw. But he's a contact guy. Hits for some power. Hits for good average. Give me him or Benintendi in left field. And I like Benintendi a little more because he played in the AL East many years with Boston. He knows it. He's got playoff experience. So I'd rather have Benintendi. And he's just as good, if not a better defensive outfield. But that's where we are with that. So again, there's just no blueprint that you can roll out on the table and say, all right, we're going to upgrade this here, we're going to upgrade this here, and now we'll beat the Astros. Just not happening. The Astros lost Carlos Correa to free agency. They bring in this kid, what was his name? Cruz, I think.
Yes.
The shortstop. And the kid is now free. He becomes ALCS MVP. Seriously. I mean, it's unbelievable. They lose a guy that could have signed. He signed in Minnesota for 1 year, but could have signed for $300 million. And there's another kid that comes up in his place, and it's like he never even left. How do you beat that? I mean, come on, you can't.
No, I just think they drafted so well.
Oh, they did. Yeah. They lost, in fact, if I bring it up here.
No, they lost over 100 games. And they
were if you look at the team history, the Astros are from, went back too far. All right, so they were here. In 2011, the Astros lost 106 games. In 2012, 107. In 2013, 111 games. In 2014, 92. So their first winning season was in 2015. They were 86 and 76. So you've got 4 straight years of top flight draft picks that you've got, and all these picks have turned and worked out. They were able to develop them. And then the other thing that the Astros have, which is kind of mind-boggling, for some reason, they have the ability to take a pitcher off of the quote-unquote scrap heap and turn him into Cy Young. Yeah. Justin Verlander was always a good pitcher with Detroit, but towards the end of his career in Detroit, he was kind of a 500 pitcher. Would throw a lot of innings, would get a lot of strikeouts, but was not nearly the guy he is in Houston. No. He goes to Houston, he's got a 150 ERA. Garrett Cole, they picked him off of the scrap heap in Pittsburgh. And again, he was Pittsburgh's number one pitcher. He was good, but he went to Houston. He became unhittable. Yeah. Look at what they did with Rafael Montero this season. Montero, a former Mets starter, was horrible in New York. He couldn't hit water on the Titanic. He was terrible. He goes to Houston. He becomes the best setup guy in the league. None of this is Brian Cashman's fault. This is stuff that he's got to deal with. But how do you deal with that? There's some kind of sprinkly fairy dust magic in Houston that they sprinkle on these guys, and all of a sudden they become like video gamers. They become unbelievable.
Yeah, I think like the whole like teams, like I would like to say the Cubs, they should go into tank mode, and they're trying to sign all the free agents, and it's like the World Series window is closed. Contreras is going to walk out. They're going to, trade other guys, and they got to, fucking tank.
Yeah. I mean, I just pulled up Justin Verlander's stats, and it's unbelievable that in 2016 with the Tigers, he was very good. 16-9 with a 3.04. He was 33 years old. So that's pretty much, when you're a pitcher, 33, 34 is pretty much the start of the end of your prime, and it starts going downhill. Yeah. So at 35, he goes to Houston, 16-9, 252, 214 innings, led the American League in strikeouts with 290. In 2019, 21-6, 2.58 ERA, led the league in innings, 223, 300 strikeouts, which nobody gets 300 strikeouts anymore. That's an incredible number. So in 2020, he gets injured, has to have the Tommy John surgery, and everybody's like, okay, that's the end of Justin Verlander. He's not coming back. Comes back this year at 39 years old, 18-4 with a 175 ERA, 175 innings, 185 Ks.
Yeah. It's amazing. He's the same age as me, and they're going to sign him to like a 2-year deal or like a 3-year deal. Or he's just going to retire on top.
I think he might go year to year at this point because he obviously doesn't need the money. So I think he's not going to leave Houston. He's comfortable there. I mean, dude, the guy's got Kate Upton. How much else in life do you need at this point? Yeah. But they say, that was one of Heyman's thing, that they should throw major money at Verlander. Let me tell you something. Yeah. The Yankees offered Justin Verlander the same amount of money that he signed with Houston for. He just didn't want to come to New York. What are you going to do? Yeah. You can't force the guy to come here. No. Now, is he going to have the same year next year? I don't know. This guy is like, is he doing the Bartolo Colon blood spinning thing? How could you throw a 1.75 ERA at age 39 in this day and age where your number 9 hitter's popping 35 homers in a season? It is unbelievable. And that's why Houston is where Houston is. That they do it with these guys. I don't know. 2 plus 2 does not equal 4 in Houston.
Yeah, and also with Tampa Bay, it's amazing how they trade these guys and they get like younger players and they just become like freaking awesome. It's like,
it's a good point you bring up. Is Tampa Bay's scouting and coaching that much better than the Yankees? I can't believe it. I'm sure that Hal Steinbrenner and the front office put so much money into player scouting, player development. They spend the most international pool money in the league usually every year. That's how they got Dominguez. And young players still want to play for the Yankees. It's not like this was in the late 80s where the Yankees were shunned. Big stars don't want to sign here, whatever. I mean, the only thing bad going now, we're going to cross this in a quick minute before we go, about the whole living in New York thing. The stigma is people still want to come play here. And now the Mets have a stigma where people want to play for Stevie Cohen because he's going to pay him umpteens amount of money. I can't believe that what they're doing in Tampa Bay, what they're doing in Houston, what they're doing in L.A. is any different than what the Yankees are doing. It's blind luck, a lot of it. They say that the average minor league system, taking players and having sustained major league careers, it's less than 3% of the players that come from your minor league system make it to the majors and stay, aka homegrown. Because most of the players that you get on your roster that have any kind of sustainability are from another team via trade. So again, you take your scouting, you take your player development, you got your low minors, your rookie bowl, all this stuff, and how Tampa Bay and now Houston just churn out these guys year after year after year. Now eventually it's got to turn back the other way. Tampa's going to run out of, because they've got, they've been so good now for so long, they don't have the high draft picks. But again, who's to say, look, take a guy like Don Mattingly. Don Mattingly was drafted in, I think, the 79th round of the draft. When was he drafted? It was a crazy number. The 19th round of the 1979 draft was Don Mattingly was drafted. The 19th round. And look, he's a guy that, in my opinion, should be in the Hall of Fame. So you never know. There's so many young players out there, and it's such a like my friend Evan says, you're buying a lottery ticket. Whenever you draft somebody in Major League Baseball, whenever you trade for a young rookie, there's zero guarantee. You just bought yourself a lottery ticket, and you're hoping that gets cashed in down the road.
Yeah. Let's go with the Giants. I mean, this is the thing that Jets and Giants. I gotta tell you, I'm surprised that the Giants are doing very well, but they need to get a tight end or a wide receiver just to, boost it up. I mean,
nobody in their wildest dreams predicted the Giants were going to be 6-1. Nobody.
Yeah.
The coaching staff has been the best coaching staff in football. Brian Daboll and Wink Martindale have done a crazy good job of completely changing the culture around this team and has these kids playing hard, having them play over their head. Yeah, the receiving core is thin. Now, they just traded, what's-his-face, to Kansas City.
Yeah, I know.
What's his name? The rookie kid. Tony. He was always hurt. He had a world of talent, but he's always hurt. And a lot of people clamor that they want OBJ to come back. I'd be up for an OBJ reunion. Daniel Jones does not have a lot of targets downfield. Does not at all. And that's one of the things that's hurt them. And how they're still winning, I don't know. Saquon Barkley has been the old Saquon Barkley. He's really looked good this year. Hasn't fumbled the ball.
No.
And Daniel Jones hasn't fumbled the ball either. As much as he runs, we were always afraid that he's a fumbler, but or a dabbler. But he's been good. And Daniel Jones has fit this system properly. That's all I'll say about him. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I don't think he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
No.
But he's a guy that fits the system that they put in there perfectly.
He's a decent quarterback. I think Brian Daboll really reinvented Daniel Jones. I got to give you some credit with that. I thought, Daniel Jones was going to be a bust, but it seems like now he's on his last year. He had to turn things around because it was that or go to the draft.
And look, Daniel Jones was a Gettleman guy. He was a Gettleman draft pick. So, when a new GM comes in, he hates dealing with players that are from a previous regime. He wants to dump them. Now, there's I keep in the back of my mind the Arch Manning, I know, is now in going to be he's a college football star or whatever. I don't know exactly where he is. I don't pay attention to college football. But I wonder if the Giants are going to see if they can go with Jones until Arch declares that he's coming out and kind of finagle some way to get a top draft pick to draft him. Because he's going to go number 1, number 2 to whatever draft he goes into.
I like the Giants draft picks, the top 5 draft picks, top 10. They were really fucking good. I think they're really working out. The guy from Oregon and the other guy from who's there?
Let's see. In 2022 draft was Thibodeau, Kayvon Thibodeau, who's been really good, edge rusher, giving us something that we haven't had in years.
Yeah.
Ever since JPP left. JPP was the last edge rusher that I remember. Watching the Giants in the previous years, how any quarterback was never pressured was so awful. So you got him. You got Evan Neal they drafted with the 7th pick, the offensive tackle out of Alabama. Wan'Dale Robinson was a wide receiver. Joshua, I can't even say his name, Ezeudu. He's a guard from North Carolina. Cordell Flott was a cornerback they drafted. And the tight end, Daniel Bellinger, who's been really great. I think he's dealing with he hurt something. He was on the injury report I saw. But yeah, their draft was, they finally drafted something that they needed instead of drafting the best that was on the board.
Yeah.
Which was a Gettleman thing. Gettleman drafted and was like, oh, yeah, we're going to draft the best guy, and then we'll kind of fit him in where we could fit him in. This team needed an offensive line to protect Daniel Jones for years. The poor kid gets crushed, and he still gets sacked a lot, but not like he did before.
No. The Jets draft this year was really fucking good. I mean,
it was.
With Sauce, the guy from Ohio State, is a big-time player. I mean, Zach Wilson in year 2 is looking really good. You know,
there was a lot of questions about Zach Wilson coming into the season. You know, people were waiting for him to show that flash, and I think back, one of the funniest things on YouTube that I remember is, again, my friend Evan, who's does the afternoon show on WFAN, when the Jets got the draft pick for Sam Darnold. He's sitting there in his room at his house with his shirt off, and he's going, "Oh, we did it!" You know, thinking that Darnold is going to be the savior of the franchise. Now look where Sam Darnold is. So, So the Jets in round 1 had Ahmad Gardner, cornerback. This is 2020. Number 2 was Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. Pick 26, edge rusher Jermaine Johnson. Running back Breece Hall, he's the one that just got hurt, right?
Yeah, he got hurt.
Yeah, that's a brutal injury because that kid was good.
Yeah, he was really good in the Denver game. Like, he was just like, I think the Pittsburgh, Green Bay, and Denver, it was like a complete different team.
Yeah.
It just was like, are they going to go back to the Rex Ryan early years? It seems like that would be kind of interesting to just go back to that defense mentality that they were really good at.
Right.
You know, for those 2 previous years until when everything collapsed for both of our teams. I just think, you know, it's refreshing to really see the Jets turn things around in year 2.
They needed it. You know, I work with some people who are big time Jet fans who have Jet season tickets. To be that dedicated to get season tickets to that team who hasn't been into a Super Bowl since 69, right? That's dedication, man. That's severe dedication. Yeah. And you know, coming into this football season, me and my best friend, we were like, oh, you know, we don't have anything to look forward to. Once the baseball season's over, the football teams are going to suck. The basketball teams are going to be meh. And the hockey teams outside of the Rangers, you know, the Islanders are going to be eh. We thought it was going to be a bleak winter. Yeah. And to Rob Sala's credit and to to Coach Dable's credit, they've given us great football to watch. I'm glued in every Sunday to both teams. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's amazing to like really see in the AFC East, Patriots are now starting to fall.
Right.
It seems like, and the Jets are going up, which is amazing. It's
the only problem that the Jets have in the AFC East is now they finally got rid of New England, I believe. I think they're going to win this week. But you're in the same division as Buffalo, who is just they're a monster team. And Buffalo is also, I just saw the other day, they got a rendering of their new stadium, which is going to be beautiful because they needed that stadium up there is a shit. But talk about a dedicated fan base. Those people, they're like Green Bay, man. It's minus 43 degrees outside with a wind chill of a minus 20,000. They're fucking out there naked watching the freaking football team.
What do you think about the NFC East? It's a real interesting see, it's just like the Eagles, like you would never ever think, and the Giants are a surprise.
It's all shock. The only team in the NFC East that I think is what they are is Washington. Everybody knew Washington was going to be crap.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Giants are this good. I don't think the Cowboys are this good. I don't think the Eagles are this good.
No.
I don't see the Eagles going 17-0, but these three are going to fight each other. Look, was it last year or the year before that I think the winner of the NFC East finished with a sub 500 record. I think they're like 7-9. I think won the division or something like that.
Oh yeah.
In the NFC
Washington.
East. So, one of the things that is going our way is that if you look around the NFC in general, there's really not that team that you could look at and say, oh my God, this team is so much better than everybody else. Right now, it's the Eagles, but I think they'll fall down as soon as they lose a game. Then the luster's off.
Yeah.
But just make the playoffs this year, and it's going to be like freaking baseball. You might have an actual shot of getting deep into the playoffs because everybody is kind of level.
What do you think about Brady's kind of like downfall with Tampa Bay? Like, I was watching the game on Thursday, and I'm like, how come you guys won the Super Bowl 2 years ago and now you're falling apart? It's just
honestly, the writing was on the wall with Brady.
Oh, yeah.
You could only go in the NFL as a quarterback for so long. And now you throw in the fact that he's got, obviously, personal problems going through the divorce with Giselle.
Yeah.
Who knows how much that played any kind of role in the past seasons, even though he was winning. I don't think she wanted him to come back because I think she's afraid her husband was going to take a shot and it's a vegetable and CTE and all that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So this is... you know what? I bet you he's going to be back again next season. Now that he's getting divorced, he doesn't have her on his back anymore.
Yeah.
This guy may never retire. He might want to play until he's 54. Who knows?
No. He's got that deal that's on Fox.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a 10-year deal worth closely to $4 million.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about $375 for a 10-year deal.
10 years, $375 million.
And they're going to make you into the game of the week.
Is that unbelievable? It's unbelievable. He's got the golden key for the rest of his life, basically.
You got one of the best picks. You're replacing Troy Aikman and Joe Buck.
Mm-hmm.
I would die for that job.
Who wouldn't?
Who wouldn't? You don't need to play.
You're talking about a league that once had Dennis Miller as the color commentator on Monday Night Football. Who, I love Dennis Miller. I think Dennis Miller's a great comic. But as soon as he starts throwing out those jokes about people in government that you don't know who the hell they are, and he's doing it during a football broadcast, I mean, come on now. So they could sit Brady in a chair, give him a drink, and have him say 2 words for the broadcast. It's still, he's going to make so much money. But Brady's got that competitive thing inside of him. He doesn't want to look old. He doesn't want to say, I'm over, I can't do this anymore, I'm going to keep going. But really, how often, he is one hit away from being crippled, honestly.
Yeah. You want to go to the Islanders and Rangers?
Yeah, we'll go to the Isles and Rangers real quick, talk about them. I actually don't have an Isles and Rangers thing. Oh, I did here. Hang on. You could start talking about it. Let me get the file here.
So basically, I was talking to you about players that maybe on the trading block, during the off season, during the season, and I was like saying to myself, like, the Rangers are looking to open, get those. Guys that, like the Patrick Kanes of the world that, give up, your first round draft pick this year and a couple of prospects. And, you got this guy for maybe 1 year. And if you can beat Tampa Bay, that's the whole problem. Tampa Bay is really good.
Tampa Bay and another one. Yeah. I grew up with an Bowl. Get 3 balls. I think he can get the Astros.
I just think that if they get the right players, if they trade for like big time players. I know that they have big, huge deals per year, but if you want to get to that level, you got to get to that level.
Yeah.
I think the Islanders do have a chance to get like, I don't know, the guy that I texted, that I tweeted to you. He's on the on the trading block. Give him for a 5th round draft pick is nothing. You know?
Yeah, I don't know who's playing. His season plan was kind of weird. We were holding on all these players and we were steadfast. Like Bartelli, it was in third to have their Steve suddenly remember that into Ferris.
Yeah.
I don't have any expectation for the Islanders. Whatever they do is going to have a plus in the group. If you have Brady Willis, usually the team does that. For years, we've reached a monster, all with the side, blah, 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 you sell these tickets and those luxury boxes. And I looked at the team I see, and the kids in the more crowd of the CD was, I didn't sell that every game. It was like, and plus, the Rangers came out of nowhere to be unbelievably good. They were terrible. And then someone found Switch Messenger or turned on Merry Christmas and came on, and now the Rangers are in dirt.
I just think that the Rangers have like this sort of like mind game plan, and they play their cards right, and they're like, let's trade these guys for the long term. They're going to be here, in the minor leagues. Let's get the player right now to beat Tampa Bay. You know what I'm trying to say? And
it's a very GM. It's a very feeling that ball with unbelievable talent.
Yeah.
And hockey is going to be fun. Full season hockey and basketball season. We'll go for the another time, but we've got this watch out. We didn't think we were going to. It's living in this area where everything else is shit.
Yeah.
It's good that we have that. So, all right, I'll cut that out. Actually, but I want to thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
The show.
Thanks.
Number
Thanks
one.
for having.
This is going to be, for reason I can't see how you do, so I did record most of it. I lost like the first 20 minutes, but I got an hour plus that I will upload to YouTube as soon as I get back, so everybody check it out. And you can find Michael, host Michael Gavin Ali Show. Tell them they can see all of the show.
It's on YouTube. I'm going to be coming back in 2023. I just was moving, and like all these other things just hit, were roadblocks in the way, but I will be back in 2023.
South Carolina, everybody's free to move.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for having me on, Chris. I appreciate it.
Anytime I do back, anytime we will do a show, I will get more sports. I will definitely talk about politics in this area. I just don't want the show talking about development in that more local. So that's definitely on for the next show. And I will talk to you, my friend. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
See you later. Okay. So, Max, we'll wrap up this first show. Oh, there we are. Back on the first show. Alright. So, now you're tuning in. I don't see a lot going up. What happened is, you had to schedule these things that I had to schedule, but they started last 6 minutes after the schedule went, and it didn't go, so I'm looking at that out. Thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you all. Subscribe, hit the like button, do all that stuff that you do, and I thank you guys.